Hello, and welcome to the first series of my podcast. It's called Random Thoughts. Um, I think pretty much last year in 2024, I talked about my um, ambition to start this podcast, and I'm sure I talked to many people who really wanted to be a part of this important um, exercise and in broader sense project. And yeah, so I just decided that for the first series of my podcast, I just dedicated to random thoughts. And these are thoughts that I just come about during my daily routines of life, be it around work, academics, friendships, relationships, and many other things. So I just thought that for the first series of my podcast, I just focus on that. Um, I'm pretty sure that many of you would know be one to be curious about who is this guy, who's David, what does he think about, and that's pretty much what I wanted to just uncover in the first series, and I hope that you're going to like this particular series. I'm just going to share in no particular um, order. I'm just going to share different random thoughts about life, different random thoughts about spirituality, different random thoughts about growth, different random thoughts about many facets of life. And I hope that you enjoy it. And maybe as time gets on and things get interesting, we might even introduce different guests on this podcast to share their experiences and stuff, but that's later. And for the first series, it's just random thoughts, unfiltered, just those. I hope you enjoy, and I hope see you in the next random thought. Thank you. There's this thought that I like sharing with people whenever I'm invited at different forums to talk to people about growth um, in the circles of networking, personal branding, and stuff like that. And most of the times when I'm invited for that, when I'm talking about these topics, I can't think further than the story of Joseph. But and by now you've realized that I like using the scripture a lot in my conversation because I feel that the Bible has got a lot of wisdom and a lot of things to learn about. That's why I always refer to it, and it's also part of me. Um, yeah. So there is a certain biblical principle that is in the story of Joseph. Um, Joseph had a gift. The gift that he had was the gift of interpreting dreams. And so one day I think it's after the Potiphar incident, he's whatever happened in Potiphar's house, the wife wanted to um, abuse him sexually, and then she screamed. And he was accused. He ends up into prison, and he's serving a sentence there, I should think. And then two of his prison mates have dreams coincidentally at once, and then they come to Joseph, and they begin to explain their dreams to him, because I think that um, they had knowledge that this guy had that kind of gift, and so they explain their dreams to him, and when they do, um, He translates it to them. He tells the other guy that the dream that you have, unfortunately, it's your own death. You're gonna die. They're gonna cut your head, and you know they're going to put it um, where everyone can see. And then he tells the other guy that the dream that you had is actually a promotion. You're gonna be vindicated, and you're gonna rise to a position where you're going to work in close proximity with the pharaoh at the palace. And so, yeah, and things go, things just happen that um, uh, Joseph interpretation of these particular dreams come to pass. But there was a very important detail when Joseph was talking to this other guy who was going to be promoted. He told him to say, all these things are going to happen to you. Um, Please, as you go out of this cell, as you get promoted and rise to the rank that you're going to be promoted to, don't forget me. Don't forget me. Uh, I find that detail very important because if it was during our time, in this time and age, the digital age and all these things that we have done in science and technology, um, what Joseph actually did at that time was he offered a service and he shared his contact. He shared his business card with this guy. He tells him to say, here's my business card. Whatever's going to happen to you, please don't hesitate to call me. These are my details, and this is what I'm able to offer with you. Hold on to that thought, it's very important. And so it happens that this guy gets promoted, and time passes by. He almost forgets. And then it comes a time when now the pharaoh has a dream, and he calls his wise men and all the staff, you know, and then they go to him. They offer to translate this dream that he had until it didn't come. The thought didn't come there instantly to this guy who was once a prisoner and now promoted. After every possible person that the pharaoh could consult about his dream felt, um, just reaching to a level where he became more angered with his people, thinking that of course they were useless and they can't translate his dream. This guy remembers more Joseph, and then he says, "Oh, there's this guy who actually got me where I am right now. He told me about where I am right now. I had a dream, and he has a gift, and I think that this guy, looking at what he did for me, and it has actually happened, is a good recommendation that I can give to the Pharaoh. And actually, if he gave me that service, he can also interpret the Pharaoh's dream." And so this guy goes to the Pharaoh and tells the Pharaoh to say, "Look, I know this guy. He's in prison, but he's got a gift, and this gift that he has, um, it actually helped me myself. Um, I had a dream, and he translated it, and I am here. Exactly what he translated or interpreted is what happened to me. I think this guy can actually interpret a dream." And so the Pharaoh says, "Okay, fine, call this guy." I think maybe with even some bit of hesitation, he calls the guy. The guy comes, he tells the dream to him, and then Joseph interprets it and then tells him that there's going to be poverty and famine that is going to come on the land, etc. And that's actually something that made Joseph rise from a prisoner to a prime minister in Egypt, a land where he did not belong. What am I trying to drive at? Firstly, the first lesson is always have a business card with you. If you have a if you have a service that you're offering, if you have a service that you offer to people, Make it a habit to have a way that your work can be recommended also to other people. What Joseph did is two things. One, he offered the best service. He was good at it. He was good at translating dreams. That was him, right? He offered the best service. And besides that, it doesn't just have to end there. You know, your first customer is always very important. Your first client is always very important because how they get satisfied with the service that you offer, you know, um, also determines how many more clients you're gonna have to yourself. But not only at business level, even as yourself as you begin to grow. Personal growth is about branding yourself in a particular way. You need to know, who are you? I am an interpreter of dreams. That was who Joseph was. And he didn't hide it. He talked about it and he performed it with exceptional preciseness. He was very good at it. And that was his brand. That is what got him from being a prisoner to a prime minister. He had a gift, he had a service that he offered. So always ask yourself, what is the service that you offer? And if you know your service, you can always confidently come out and say, you're struggling with this. This is what I offer. These guys had dreams, and I'm sure, I don't know, I don't want to speculate, but he was able to come out and tell them to say, look, you're struggling with this dream. That's what I do. That's my service. That's who I am. So Joseph branded himself as an interpreter of dreams, but it wasn't enough just to offer a service. Leaving an impact in people's lives is also very important, but most importantly is the impression that you leave in people. Please don't forget me. That is a very important point in branding. You need to leave an impression that makes it difficult for people to forget you. That even when you are in prison, these prisons that we are in, the prisons of, financial breakthrough, we are confined, we can't find our breakthrough, unemployment, different prisons that we are, that it hinders us from getting into certain spaces where people can begin to notice us. But even in that confinement that you are, where you are unable to break out of the shell, right? Find a way to make the word known even to the people who are outside that shell. You know, they have to know that there is a guy who is in prison of finances. There's a guy who is in unemployment. There's a who is able to offer this service. And not just that, we always start at a certain level, probably lower than where we want to get, right? You don't have to be at State House for you to actually um, make a difference, right? Even in your leader capacity, it's the people around you where you show generosity, where you show your skill, your talent, your gifts, where you offer your service. Those are the people that actually go out there and represent you to people who can turn your life around. So do not underestimate your space. If you want to grow, do not underestimate your space, even that little space that you are in. You may think it is a shell. You don't know who is noticing you in that space. A fellow prisoner actually turned around the life of Joseph. He is the one who went to the Pharaoh and told him to say, I know a guy who is actually in prison, and this guy did this for me, and it worked so excellent, and he can do the same thing for you. And when Joseph went there, it was just a moment for him to shine. He went beyond explaining the dream. He started talking about solutions, even better than people who had majored in economics and finance and stuff. That the Pharaoh had his jaw drop and he had to promote him to a position of prime minister. That's not small. From a prisoner to prime minister, that is big. So all of us have got potential. but it's how we package ourselves and how we sell ourselves out there that really matters, right? It's about focusing on that one thing that you're good at and always finding a way to shine through it. And do not underestimate people. Do not underestimate your space. Even in prison, even in whatever situation that you are, you can still perform your service. Secondly, do not underestimate the people around you. Do not underestimate the people around you, no matter how small or uneducated or whatever it is, that maybe they are not even related to your career or things like that. Those are actually the people that say good things about us, that tell other people who might make use of our gift and get us recommended out there. Any person that you come across, as long as they are a person, find value in them. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this person? When I went to the University of Cape Town, I met this guy who has been a mentor to me and helped me in many things to get my place there. And then when I went there, I finally made it into the University of Cape Town to do my master's. He told me to say, now that you're here, David, you don't have to impress anyone. Always ask yourself when you come across a person, what can I learn from this guy? And that stuck with me because it helped me in many ways. It doesn't matter the person that you meet. What is important is every person that you come across is a lesson plan that you can learn massive and massive of things that they have experienced. Just be open to growth, be open to people, and it helps, you know. So that's the magic of personal growth. That's the magic of personal branding. It's not about starting from the top. It's what you are able to do in the little capacity that you have, in the little space that you have, with the people around you. You never know. That prisoner that you look down on to be a fellow prisoner, as a person who is unemployed as you, as a person who is struggling financially as you, as a person who is going through nearly the same things that you're going through, are the people sometimes who in future may end up just standing around your life. So be vigilant, be wise. Do not, whatever the circumstance, do not let that circumstance stand in the way between you and unleashing the gifts, the skills, the talents that you have, because you don't know who's going to help you and you don't know how much potential is within that little shell that you call the little shell. You don't know the potential that is there, because amongst the people around you, somebody may just find themselves being working next or find themselves on the same table with the people that you call your destiny helpers. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to share. I hope it helps you. Yeah, it's about the random thoughts. A lot of people have asked me what it takes to have a growth mindset. Yeah, like a lot of people come to me and then they tell me to say, you seem to have this growth mindset. You seem to be this person who is positive and trying to achieve certain goals. And how do you do that? Yeah, that's a very important question, and it's got to do mainly with the environment that I am and how I perceive it and how I interpret this environment, and that's all I can think of. And many times when I feel it's easy to see a person who's got a very bad attitude towards growth. Um, you can tell the many markers that can tell you to say, I think this person has quarreled, has quarreled with growth. In their heart, there is no um, there is no place whatsoever for them to accept and embrace growth. I have encountered that many times, even with people without asking me. I can tell to say this person will be very hard for them to grow. And I say that because it's something that I have seen and struggled with, and until I accepted it, and that was the genesis of my growth. Now, I acknowledge we live in an environment of competition. You know, we need to compete to survive. That's an evolutionary instinct, I think. For human beings to be where they are right now, it took a lot of outcompeting others, you know, survival of the fittest, and those things that you learn from from the evolution side of life. It's something that we have developed all the time, and we have become familiar with. You know, that for you to survive, you need to step on other people, which I think it was applied then when the environment at that time was very hostile. But for the current society, looking at the politics, the economics, and everything, I think we're slowly getting away from that animosity and realizing that life is not about that. You can still grow without stepping on other people's head, and you still can be fine. And actually, what the current society is teaching us is that but by holding hands together with other people, that is the foundation of growth. Because when the people around you are growing, you can actually grow. That's what the modern society teaches us. Um, let's go to the basics. If if I know something and the person next to me doesn't know, if the person next to me wants to grow, they need to be humble enough to come to me and learn. Equally, um, if the person next to me knows something that I don't know or has certain abilities that I don't have, um, growth mindset stipulates that I need to humble myself and go to that person and learn from them. That's how we grow in the modern society. I have realized that there are a lot of things that I can do with so much ease that a lot of people around me find it very difficult to do. And equally, there are things that people around me can do with so much ease that I would never imagine in eternity I could do with so much ease. And so it's an exchange. Growth is an exchange. The fact that we are different, God made us this way. He wanted us to be in an environment where we are able to support each other and in many ways grow. So I find this thought very fascinating in many ways. So what am I trying to get at? What I'm trying to get at is we need an environment that we can support each other and grow. And if you find the people around you not to be a resource or an asset, but rather an adversary, what that means is that you need to redefine your thinking. You may be struggling to get certain goals in life, and then maybe you think in the African way that maybe it's my aunt or my uncle who is against my growth. No, it's your bad attitude, because personally I have learned most valuable lessons from kids, from my peers, from friends, from people around me. even more than I have learned from these institutions where I pay to learn. Because where I pay to learn, it's a formal learning. But the hardest lessons in life are learned from those who teach us from the point of nothing but love. If you push away those people around, away from you, then there is absolutely no chance or room for you to grow. Friends can tell you the truth unfiltered. They know more about your life. Your teachers, your lecturers don't know that. Unless you have a circle of people who are willing to support you. But if you have, take advantage of that. You may have better qualifications than the people around you, but that doesn't make you absolutely knowledgeable and right in all the ways. If you want to grow alone, think about it in this way. Imagine you're a tree in a forest that is cut and you're the only standing tree. You should know that the next time when the axe comes, you'll be the next one to be down. So as you want to grow, as you become ambitious and want to reach whatever heights in life, think about the people around you. Spread the seed, let them grow together. And that's a growth mindset. I hope that you enjoy this series of a podcast, Random Thoughts, and until next time.